So here's my spoiler review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So if you haven't seen Quantumania yet, do yourself a favor, watch the movie, and then come back to this video to watch the spoiler review. But if you have watched the film, then welcome, and then let's get started with this review. I'm going to be talking about my positives, and I'm going to be talking about my negatives for the film. That will include spoilers, of course. So let's get right into this video. I really liked about this movie is that we got the chance to see Janet's time in the quantum realm during those 30 years and what she was doing in those 30 years and how she was keeping that secret from Henry and Hope and Scott Lang through those these next 2 years after the blip. And I thought it was really, really interesting to really get the chance to see that. And it was also very interesting to really get the chance to see her meet Kang. And she thought she could trust Kang, and that, Kang would be able to bring her back home through the time chair. And the time chair is a multiversal chair that goes through different timelines. And in fact, she didn't, after a while, after to really getting the chance to know him, she discovered that he's a bad guy, and in that he is capable of destroying different worlds, different universes. And we get to see why he does this why he's doing this stuff, because he says that he was exiled by his own variants out of fear, which drove Janet to really turn on him. And then after a while, he became a prisoner, and he ruled the quantum realm. And he ruled the quantum realm with MODOK. And by the way, if you want to know who MODOK really is, MODOK is Darren Cross. As you know, if you've seen the first Ant-Man movie, he got shrunk into the quantum realm, and for some reason he turned into MODOK, and he's been in the quantum realm through those past 10 years that he was in the quantum realm, because as you know, the Ant-Man is set in 2015. In this movie, it takes place in 2025. So I thought it was really cool to really get the chance to see MODOK in this movie. And I know a lot of people complain about, oh, he's very goofy, his CGI looks really bad. It's not that bad, guys. It's not. I've seen worse CGI in my life. I've seen, The Rock in Scorpion King. That is way worse than MODOK. Listen, that's the point of MODOK. He's supposed to be goofy looking. That's it. He's supposed to be goofy looking. And I really liked the chance that we got to see Darren Cross. And it was also kind of cool to see he had a little bit of a redemption arc in the movie. Because he was controlled by Kang. And he was basically like his protege, his assistant. And then in the movie we see this big fight that with MODOK versus Cassie, and Cassie eventually defeats MODOK, and MODOK's like, oh, I'm a dick, and I'm already a dick, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I ended up like this. And Cassie's like, oh, it's never too late to be a dick. And so that we get this thing where he tries to defeat Kang, and he says, I am not a dick, and he eventually fails, and he dies, and he says, at least I died an Avenger, which I really, really like that part of the movie where he at the end, when he before he died, he says, at least I got to die an Avenger. I thought it was really, really funny, and it was also funny to see the memes about it. But it was cool that he got this little redemption arc, and I do really feel, bad for Darren Cross, because as you know in the movie, he was this very powerful guy who worked with Hank, and he really just wanted this power. He really wanted this energy, this drive to really get this technology for the soldiers. and then he becomes Yellow Jacket, and he turns into this villain, and then later on, as you know, he is now in the quantum realm as MODOK. I mean, that's what you get for fucking with quantum technology. But it was good that he got this little redemption arc, and I was really happy about that. So it was really, really cool to see that. It was very cool to see Bill Murray's in the movie, but he doesn't even last that long in the movie. He's only like 3 minutes, and then he eventually dies. What's his name? Klatar? Krylar. Krylar. Yeah, that's his name. It was pretty cool to see that, and how like he knows Janet, and that they were like freedom fighters, like freedom fighter allies, until as you know, she left, and then he turned against her, and now like in a way he, I don't know if I would say works for Kang, but he is a part of I guess he is a part of Kang, though, I would say. But we get to see 3 minutes of him. That's really about it. But it was kind of cool to see Bill Murray in this movie, which is really, really fire, though. And it was also cool to see Jimmy Woo. He only had like a very small cameo in there. I really liked that. I really liked that we got the chance to see Jimmy Woo in this movie. What else did I really like about this? I really liked just the end fight scene. That was a lot of fun. I know the CGI was really goofy, and it was also really cool to see, like, the ant. If you've seen the movie, we see these ants that have been living 1,000 years in the quantum realm, but as you know, in 1,000 years, it turns into like one day, and they've been able to really construct themselves to be the most powerful ants, and then the ants go on Kang, and then we get to see this big end fight scene with Kang versus Scott, and Kang beats Scott, but then Scott gets back up, and Hope and Scott eventually defeat Kang. And I also and then in the end of the movie, we really get to see that, that Scott thinks that, oh, I defeated Kang, but did I really defeat Kang? And he gets all worried about, like, oh shoot, did I do something? What happened? There's gonna be many more of these Kang. He's like, oh, he said something about, Kang's mentioned about something about, there might be many more of these Kangs. And it was a very interesting moment. Very goofy, but it was very, very interesting. And I really enjoyed that. And guys, tell me, at the end of the scene when Scott was eating the cake, was there ants in there? There had to be ants in that cake, because I don't know. I don't know if there was ants in that cake, but that was he tasted something, and he was like, oh, he tasted something. Well, he didn't say it, but he said, oh, what is that? And we were all thinking, like, oh, is that ants? Are there ants in his cake? I mean, I wouldn't want ants in my cake either. That would be terrible. That would really be terrible. But yeah, I really like those parts I really love those moments in the movie, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed those really unique, shall I say, those moments in the movie that really haven't really been explained to us until now, and I really like that. And then we get these two post-credit scenes in the movie. We get the chance to see the different kinds of Kangs in this, like, Council of Kang. We get to see, like, an Egyptian Kang, a robotic, like, almost like a cyborg-like Kang. We get to see this, like, blue Kang. These different kinds of Kangs throughout different timelines. And it was really, really cool to see those Kangs, and it really sets up the perfectly for what Kang Dynasty is going to be like. And I think with Kang Dynasty, we're going to see all the different kinds of Kangs fighting the Avengers, and I'm really stoked to really get the chance to see that. And then we get a second credit scene, where it's Loki and Mobius in the 1800s, seeing Kang, and he built this little time machine, this like time machine, and Loki's like, that's him, and Mobius is like, oh, he's not this terrifying figure, and then once again he's like, that is Kang, that is him. And I think it's probably a scene for Loki season 2, but I really can't wait for Loki season 2, and I can't wait for a trailer for that, because that looks going to be pretty awesome. So that's really about it for my positives. Now, let's get right into the negatives. I did mention, as you know, in my review, I mentioned about the fact that this movie, I wished it had higher stakes, and I wish the movie had, just wish it had more of that third level movie action that I really wanted this movie to have. Because as you know, in my review before, I said that with it being a third film, there's going to be bigger stakes for these characters. Like, if you've seen Thor Ragnarok, Thor lost his shield. If you've seen Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home lost everything. Everyone forgot about him. And then in the third Iron Man movie, Tony lost his, or shall I say, took off his arc reactor and threw it away. And then after that, it was Captain America Civil War, where Steve lost his shield. And with this movie, I was expecting Scott to really lose something, and I really, really wanted to see that, but you don't really get the chance to see that. I think that was really one of the major disappointing parts of the film, was that I wished Scott was able to lose something. Because I think it would have changed. I think it would really, really drastically change his character in a really unique way. And in fact, you don't really get the chance to see Scott really losing anything. You know, I really wanted to see that. I mean, no one really dies in this movie. Not Hank, not Janet, not Hope, not Cassie. No one dies in the movie. And I think if you've seen it, I think we had a lot of predictions for someone was going to die in this movie. It was either going to be, Hank die, whoever it was, we were all expecting to really see that. And I really, really wanted to see this movie have a bigger stakes. Because it just, in my opinion, it felt too easy. Like, it felt too easy for these characters. I mean, in some ways, like I said, it was hard, in a way, but it could have been way harder for these characters. And I was hoping for these characters to lose something, or Scott Scott, of course, to really lose something. I was really expecting that, and I was really hoping to see this movie. And in a way, it felt more as if it was a Kang movie. I mean, from everyone in the reviews, everyone says it feels more like a Kang movie than it really feels like an Ant-Man movie. In a way, I can kind of agree on that, and I wish it was more of. I mean, like I said, Kang being a villain is nothing short but amazing, but I wish in a way it was more of a. It still should have been more of this, like, Ant-Man, Wasp, and it had bigger stakes on these characters, and I wish it had. I mean, the 2 hour 5 minute runtime isn't bad, and it managed to really get to cover all these stories, and we get to see these character developments. But I still wanted the movie to really have this bigger stake, as if with it being a third movie, I really wanted to be a bigger stake. And sadly, it was more as if it was a teaser to Kang Dynasty rather than it being a Ant-Man movie with something that, oh shoot, something is going to happen to these characters within this third movie. But I'd say that's really all I have to say about that. And another thing I'd say, like I said, with the runtime, I say it's not bad. It's better than, I'd say, Thor: Love and Thunder. The runtime was With this, it's not bad. I think it really manages to really get everything. But there is some pacing issues in the middle of the film that I wish would have been a little bit expanded. But that's really all I really have to say about Kang Dynasty. It's not the best film. It is, it is not the best film in the world. It's definitely not the best MCU film. But I still enjoyed it. I think it's way better than Thor: Love and Thunder, and I really enjoyed the amount of things that we got in this movie and how it's really going to set up for Kang Dynasty. Which is really going to be very exciting, and I really can't wait, and I had a really good time with this movie. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and take care. Peace.